Who was Abraham Lincoln? What did he do? What was his philosophy? Abraham Lincoln was the 16th President of the United States, serving from March 1861 until his assassination in April 1865. He was born on February 12, 1809, in a log cabin in Hardin County, Kentucky. Lincoln is widely regarded as one of America's greatest presidents, known for his leadership during the Civil War and his efforts to abolish slavery. Lincoln's philosophy and actions were guided by several key principles. 1. Emancipation Proclamation. One of Lincoln's most significant actions as president was issuing the Emancipation Proclamation on January 1, 1863. This executive order declared that all enslaved people in Confederate-held territory were to be set free. While the Emancipation Proclamation did not immediately end slavery, it marked a crucial turning point in the fight for freedom and equality. 2. Preservation of the Union. Lincoln's primary goal during the Civil War was to preserve the Union and prevent the secession of the Southern states. He believed that the United States was a single, indivisible nation and that secession threatened the very existence of democracy and freedom. Lincoln's unwavering commitment to preserving the Union guided his decisions throughout the war, including his support for the Union Army and his efforts to reconcile the North and South. 3. Equality and justice. Lincoln believed in the principles of equality and justice for all people, regardless of race or background. He famously declared in his Gettysburg Address that the United States was conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. Lincoln's commitment to equality and justice inspired him to pursue policies such as the abolition of slavery and the promotion of civil rights for African Americans. So, why should we bother to read about Abraham Lincoln and his works? Here are some benefits. 1. Learning about leadership and courage. Lincoln's life story teaches us about the importance of leadership, courage, and perseverance in the face of adversity. By reading about Lincoln's rise from humble beginnings to the presidency and his leadership during the Civil War, we can learn valuable lessons about the qualities of effective leadership and the power of determination. 2. Understanding the fight for freedom and equality. Lincoln's efforts to abolish slavery and promote civil rights can help us understand the struggle for freedom and equality in American history. By learning about Lincoln's commitment to justice and equality, we can gain a deeper appreciation for the sacrifices made by those who fought for civil rights and the importance of continuing to work towards a more just and equitable society. 3. Inspiring civic engagement and responsibility. Lincoln's dedication to democracy and the preservation of the Union can inspire us to become active and engaged citizens. By reading about Lincoln's belief in the power of democracy and his efforts to uphold the principles of freedom and equality, we can learn about the importance of participating in the democratic process and working to make a positive difference in their communities. 4. Promoting empathy and compassion. Lincoln's compassion for others, including his willingness to listen to different perspectives and his efforts to heal the wounds of war, can help us develop empathy and compassion towards others. By learning about Lincoln's empathy and compassion, we can gain a deeper understanding of the human experience and the importance of treating others with kindness and respect. Folks are usually about as happy as they make their minds up to be. Whatever you are, be a good one. Do I not destroy my enemies when I make them my friends? America will never be destroyed from the outside. If we falter and lose our freedoms, it will be because we destroyed ourselves. My best friend is a person who will give me a book I have not read. My concern is not whether God is on our side. My greatest concern is to be on God's side, for God is always right. I'm a success today because I had a friend who believed in me, and I didn't have the heart to let him down. Books serve to show a man that those original thoughts of his aren't very new after all. When I do good, I feel good. When I do bad, I feel bad. That's my religion. Those who deny freedom to others deserve it not for themselves. I am a slow walker, but I never walk back. Whenever I hear anyone arguing for slavery, I feel a strong impulse to see it tried on him personally. There are no bad pictures, that's just how your face looks sometimes. I can see how it might be possible for a man to look down upon the earth and be an atheist, but I cannot conceive how a man could look up into the heavens and say there is no God. Those who look for the bad in people will surely find it. I don't like that man. I must get to know him better. I am not bound to win, but I am bound to be true. I am not bound to succeed, but I am bound to live up to what light I have. When you reach the end of your rope, tie a knot and hang on. You can fool some of the people all of the time, and all of the people some of the time, but you cannot fool all of the people all of the time. Be sure you put your feet in the right place, then stand firm. I would rather be a little nobody than to be an evil somebody. I have been driven many times upon my knees by the overwhelming conviction that I had nowhere else to go. My own wisdom and that of all about me seemed insufficient for that day. If I were two-faced, would I be wearing this one? All that I am or ever hope to be, I owe to my angel mother. Character is like a tree and reputation its shadow. The shadow is what we think it is, and the tree is the real thing. Always bear in mind that your own resolution to succeed is more important than any one thing. The best way to predict your future is to create it. No man is poor who has a godly mother. We are not enemies, but friends. We must not be enemies. Though passion may have strained, it must not break our bonds of affection. The mystic chords of memory will swell when again touched, as surely they will be by the better angels of our nature. I laugh because I must not cry. That is all. That is all. Give me 6 hours to chop down a tree, and I will spend the first 4 sharpening the axe. Tact, the ability to describe others as they see themselves. I will prepare, and someday my chance will come. Elections belong to the people. It's their decision. If they decide to turn their back on the fire and burn their behinds, then they will just have to sit on their blisters. No man has a good enough memory to be a successful liar. The best thing about the future is that it comes one day at a time. I have always found that mercy bears richer fruits than strict justice. My father taught me to work, but not to love it. I never did like to work, and I don't deny it. I'd rather read, tell stories, crack jokes, talk, laugh, anything but work. If you once forfeit the confidence of your fellow citizens, you can never regain their respect and esteem. It is true that you may fool all of the people some of the time. You can even fool some of the people all of the time, but you can't fool all of the people all of the time. Speech at Clinton, Illinois, September 8, 1854. All I have learned, I learned from books. Things may come to those who wait, but only the things left by those who hustle. You cannot escape the responsibility of tomorrow by evading it today. I care not for a man's religion whose dog and cat are not the better for it. Every man's happiness is his own responsibility. I am in favor of animal rights as well as human rights. That is the way of a whole human being. I do not think much of a man who is not wiser today than he was yesterday. It's not me who can't keep a secret. It's the people I tell that can't. In this sad world of ours, sorrow comes to all, and to the young, it comes with bitterest agony because it takes them unawares. The older have learned to ever expect it. I am anxious to afford some alleviation of your present distress. Perfect relief is not possible, except with time. You cannot now realize that you will ever feel better. Is not this so? And yet it is a mistake. You are sure to be happy again. To know this, which is certainly true, will make you some less miserable now. I have had experience enough to know what I say, and you need only to believe it to feel better at once. I do the very best I know how, the very best I can, and I mean to keep on doing so until the end. No matter how much the cats fight, there always seem to be plenty of kittens. We should be too big to take offense and too noble to give it. The Bible is not my book, nor Christianity my profession. I could never give assent to the long, complicated statements of Christian dogma. If there is anything that links the human to the divine, it is the courage to stand by a principle when everybody else rejects it. I have come to the conclusion never again to think of marrying, and for this reason, I can never be satisfied with anyone who would be blockhead enough to have me. The ballot is stronger than the bullet. You can have anything you want if you want it badly enough. You can be anything you want to be, do anything you set out to accomplish if you hold to that desire with singleness of purpose. The greatest fine art of the future will be the making of a comfortable living from a small piece of land. As I would not be a slave, so I would not be a master. This expresses my idea of democracy. My great concern is not whether you have failed, but whether you are content with your failure. For 47 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. Now we are engaged in a great civil war, testing whether that nation or any nation so conceived and so dedicated can long endure. We are met on a great battlefield of that war. We have come to dedicate a portion of that field as a final resting place for those who here gave their lives that that nation might live. It is altogether fitting and proper that we should do this. But in a larger sense, we cannot dedicate, we cannot consecrate, we cannot hallow this ground. The brave men, living and dead, who struggled here have consecrated it far above our poor power to add or detract. The world will little note nor long remember what we say here, but it can never forget what they did here. It is for us, the living, rather to be dedicated here to the unfinished work which they who fought here have thus far so nobly advanced. It is rather for us to be here dedicated to the great task remaining before us, that from these honored dead we take increased devotion to that cause for which they gave the last full measure of devotion, that we here highly resolve that these dead shall not have died in vain, that this nation under God shall have a new birth of freedom, and that government of the people by the people, for the people shall not perish from the earth. Hypocrite, the man who murdered his parents, and then pleaded for mercy on the grounds that he was an orphan. Honor to the soldier and sailor everywhere, who bravely bears his country's cause. Honor, also, to the citizen who cares for his brother in the field and serves, as he best can, the same cause. Don't criticize them. They are just what we would be under similar circumstances. With malice toward none, with charity for all, with firmness in the right as God gives us to see the right, let us strive on to finish the work we are in, to bind up the nation's wounds, to care for him who shall have borne the battle and for his widow and his orphan, to do all which may achieve and cherish a just and lasting peace among ourselves and with all nations. Get books, sit yourself down anywhere, and go to reading them yourself. Die when I may. I want it said of me by those who knew me best, that I always plucked a thistle and planted a flower where I thought a flower would grow. If this country is ever demoralized, it will come from trying to live without work. It is said an Eastern monarch once charged his wise men to invent him a sentence to be ever in view, and which should be true and appropriate in all times and situations. They presented him the words, "And this too shall pass away." How much it expresses! How chastening in the hour of pride! How consoling in the depths of affliction! Stand with anyone that is right. Stand with him while he is right and part with him when he goes wrong. You cannot build character and courage by taking away people's initiative and independence. Thanks for watching. If you like our work, please like, share, and subscribe. It will motivate us to create more such inspiring content, and you will be notified when we upload new content. Till the next video, stay curious and be happy.